What's going on, everyone? So we got through the All-Star weekend. The All-Star game it has been the talk of the talk, right? It was once again another just disaster of a game. You could tell Adam Silver was not very happy in that regard. Just don't know how you fix it. You don't know what you do to really get it back to actual basketball. The only thing I could think of is you make it, U.S. versus the world. Maybe get some of these guys in their country jerseys or something like that, and really add some pride to these guys, and maybe they'll play harder to try to represent for their region, right? Their culture, their countries. But nonetheless, we're in the season, and we're in what is looked at as the back half of the season, right? It's not really. It's kind of like the final quarter of the season. But this is usually where teams go one of two ways, right? Teams either usually start, hey, let's go make our push. Let's start playing for seeding. Let's really start to ramp things up. And you see teams that are trying to be contenders really push to further that narrative. And then you see some of these teams that are like, okay, season's over. Let's start packing it in and losing as many games as possible. All of a sudden guys have like some knee injury and they've been healthy all season, right? You see the injury reports for some of these teams and you're like, their entire roster just happened to get sick overnight. Like, what happened here, right? So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what teams decide to start packing in, especially some of like the middle of the pack teams start packing in. But this season in general, I really think is just wide open. Like, genuinely. You can make an argument for like 10 different teams to win the NBA championship. Like, seriously. I mean, in the Eastern Conference, I think genuinely you can make an argument for obviously the Celtics, the Bucks. I think the Knicks, the Cavs, the Sixers. You can never really count out the Miami Heat. So there's 6 teams right there. You look at the Western Conference, you have obviously the Timberwolves and the Thunder. I'm not super sold on them, but we'll talk about the teams that I'm not super sold on here in a moment. But arguments for, again, Timberwolves, Thunder, Clippers, Nuggets, the Suns, right? I mean, the Mavs have been playing as good as basketball as anybody. The Lakers and the Warriors, they've been looking hot and look like they're starting to get things back to normal. Nobody would want to see them. They're 2 teams that if they won the championship, no one would be surprised. But regardless, like, that is good because it's kind of, it gives competition. I'm excited for the postseason. I'm excited to see how these teams stack up. The playoffs should be quite the event this season because there's no team this season that just looks far and away better than anybody, right? Obviously, you have the Denver Nuggets who won last year, but they've looked very vulnerable this year. They haven't looked like the same Denver team last year. Now, granted, once you get into the postseason, everything changes. You get to the playoffs, these guys all elevate all of a sudden. Denver looks like a team that's just like average. I mean, average may be the wrong word, but you get my point, right? They don't look like the world beater they were last year. But then they get to the postseason, it's like, oh, there they are, right? Like, that's just usually how it goes. But beyond Denver, obviously, look at a team like the Boston Celtics. They've been clear-cut the best team in the league all season. And then the Los Angeles Clippers, right? The Clippers have been the hottest team since the James Harden trade. They have been spectacular, and they've climbed from being a team that didn't even look like they'd make the play-in to a team that's like number 3 in the Western Conference and would be second in the Eastern Conference. So they're cruising right now. But again, all these teams look very beatable. Right? You take a team like the Clippers, for example. Right? The Clippers, you have James Harden, who's absolutely notorious for just completely disappearing. Same thing with Paul George at times can just completely disappear in the postseason. The playoff injury woes for the Clippers is definitely a concern. I don't want to just highlight that, but it is definitely something specifically with the Clippers. Obviously, injuries can impact any team, but the Clippers just have this history the last few years of they get to the postseason and all of a sudden Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are hurt. It's happened more than any other team. It's crazy. And so, that's definitely a concern. But look, you'd be lying if you said the Clippers aren't an absolute threat. They definitely are. You look at teams like I mentioned, Boston and the Knicks. The Knicks were playing the best basketball, and in my opinion, the Knicks fully healthy, I actually think they're the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Like, I think that they have pretty much everything you want to like contend. I don't think that they will win a championship yet. I think they're still like that other real star, bona fide star away. I also think it depends on what Julius Randle does, because he's been terrible in the postseason. If he can be, regular season Julius Randle at least, not even elevate, just be regular season Julius Randle, then I think the Knicks definitely have a real argument, because Milwaukee looks very vulnerable. Milwaukee does not look great, and we'll touch on them here more in a moment. But, the Knicks, when they were fully healthy and after the trade and everything, and they just picked up some other pieces in Alec Burke and Bojan, they're a team that I don't think anyone wants to see in the East. And then like the Celtics, right? But the Celtics, my problem with the Celtics is they love to just kind of shoot themselves in the foot a lot, right? Like, they are, in my opinion, the best team in the league. It pains me to say it as a Laker fan, but they are. They are, and I mean, they have been all season, but there's games where you look at them and you're just like, how does anyone beat this team in a 7-game series? How does anyone beat this team once in the postseason? And then, like, you'll see a stretch of games and you're like, oh, that's how. And it's just like the Celtics just don't look like the same team. It's like they just have like two completely different brands of basketball. It's like one time they look like by far the world beater that you want to see as like the clear-cut contender. And then you see other games where it's like, okay, like I can see why the Lakers beat Boston without Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They just love to shoot themselves out of games. They love to just get away from things that work. It's just Jason Tatum, like, what does he look like in the postseason is a real thing. So the Eastern Conference definitely has some stacks. And then, like I said, you go to the West and it's like, you have the Clippers, you have the Nuggets. No one wants to see and run into the Phoenix Suns. I mean, talking Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. I'm not sold on Phoenix. I think Phoenix they don't have like what I think is a team to actually win a championship. I don't think that they have the depth and the overall talent front to back to win a championship. I think that they are, they just have so many holes and so many issues, and they're a jump shooting team. They're going to be heavily reliant on their three guys, but they still have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. If we're being honest, they still have those three guys, and those three guys are not going to be fun to play against in a 7-game series. They're just not. And as I mentioned, Dallas looked really good. Do the Lakers and the Warriors start turning things around and get back to being the contending team? I mean, the Lakers were just in the Western Conference Finals. How do you feel about the Lakers? They're a team that no one wants to play in the postseason. Same thing with the Warriors. No one wants to play them in the postseason. Now, the Timberwolves and the Thunder, look, I think that could they win a championship? Sure. I just think that they're a young team that you usually see with these teams. They're excellent in the regular season, but they got to go through their lumps in the postseason before they actually get to that point of contender. I just think they're going to if they play a team like the Denver Nuggets or the Clippers, or even a team like the Lakers and the Warriors, right? When it is that grind game and it is this back and forth and it is coming down to the wire and you are in a deciding game 6 or 5 or 7, right? It's just more times than not, those veteran proven teams are the ones that come out ahead, right? So, if the Wolves or the Thunder, they end up playing the Suns, the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Lakers, or the Warriors, I think those teams will very likely send them home. I'm not saying lock it in. I'm not saying that they can't beat those teams. But if you have to go through several of those teams, I just think it's going to be really tough unless you just kind of run through everybody. But again, you look at the East and the West. What do the Sixers look like when Joel Embiid comes back? Does Joel Embiid ever even come back? If he does, then, the Sixers are always going to be in the conversation. Miami, every year you think, Miami's pedestrian, Miami's just average, and then all of a sudden you look and they're in the NBA Finals again. So, you can't leave them out. the Pacers, I think, could make some noise. I don't think that they go anywhere, but I think the right matchup, I think they could, honestly, I think the Pacers could give the Milwaukee Bucks some trouble, like genuinely, right? Again, if the Sixers have like a one-legged Joel Embiid, right, I could see the Pacers maybe giving the Sixers some trouble. Right? There's an argument to be made for so many teams in this league, and I'm really excited. Now, obviously, it could very well just play out the norm, right? And it's like, okay, the 4 teams that are in the second round are the Celtics, Cavs, Bucks, and Knicks, and it's like, all right, those 4 teams play. It's the Celtics and the Bucks in the finals, or the conference finals, and there you have it. Boston wins it. They go to the NBA Finals. And then you look in the Western Conference, and it's like, all right, you got the Nuggets and the Clippers in the NBA Finals, and the Nuggets beat the Clippers, and now we got a Boston Nuggets Finals matchup. Like, that could all obviously happen. I just think it's going to be a very exciting just showdown. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Are you excited basketball's back? Actual NBA, not that all-star game nonsense. Also, what do you think? Do you think any team, this team is clearly far and away going to win it? Or do you agree? Like, hey, no, this NBA season is very wide open. Anybody can win it, right? But again, how do you feel? What your thoughts are? Love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.